I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Coming to video for you to own. Yeehaw! The good.
I am Archer, emissary of the Gorgonites.
The bad.
There will be no mercy.
And the odd.
Not so close. You'll ruin your eye.
Together in one movie with more action.
Open fire!
More excitement.
Oh, no.
And more fun. Than you'll find in any other video this year. Small Soldiers coming to video November 10th, rated PG-13.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. There's another Patreon review for Johnny, who was very nice enough to pledge a good amount to my Patreon. Thank you for that. If anyone is ever interested in supporting me on Patreon or via PayPal, links are down below in the info box. The review for today is Small Soldiers. Now, Small Soldiers is a Joe Dante film that technically I saw it when it came out on video, but I can't say I rewatched this film a lot. In fact, probably the last time I saw it might have been when it came out, so it might have been, might have been 20 some years ago. Might have been maybe 20 years. I know this came out in 1998, but I'm saying by the time I saw it, might have been 99, 2000 VHS. So yeah, it might have been 20 years ago since I last saw this. It was just a movie I never bothered to rewatch compared to other Joe Dante films, like my favorite being The Burbs. Love that film. Rewatched Gremlins and Gremlins 2 a lot. Enjoyed those. Inner Space, fun movie. Even Explorers, although the third act to that is god-awful. But the first 2/3 of Explorers I would rewatch a lot. This one, and watch it again, I kind of see why. I don't hate this film. I liked it okay as a time waster. There's some good notes to it. The idea is fun. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's silly. You develop these live action toys capable of fighting back. And a defense contractor buys a toy factory, and then someone puts these microchips in the toys to fight for back and forth and play back, but then AI, things go wrong. But you know what? If that's kind of what happens in the Child's Play remake in a weird way. Now that I think about it, not exactly, but kinda. So if I could buy in that, I'll buy in this. You either go with it or you don't. And it's nice to see people like Dick Miller, who may rest in peace. Of course, he was in Gremlins 1 and 2 and worked with Joe Dante a lot. You have the human cast, people like Jay Moore, David Cross, Phil Hartman. Again, rest in peace, Phil Hartman. And the voice cast at the Commando team, who are bad guys. I mean, you got Tommy Lee Jones, you have Bruce Dern, and then you have most of the cast of The Dirty Dozen, which is a cool choice. Like Jim Brown, George Kennedy, Ernest Borgnine. I don't know if this is true. It's on the IMDb trivia. The trivia says that at first they wanted the cast of Predator to voice the Commando team. So like Arnold, Carl Weathers, Bill Duke, Sonny Landham. Now if it did that, this would be glorious. And the best thing ever. whether that's true or not, I did. It's IMDb trivia. I don't know. I don't know anything that has confirmed that. But it was still interesting to have people like Jim Brown, Bruce Dern, George Kennedy, Ernest Borgnine, Tommy Lee Jones as these Commando toys. And then the good guys, the Gorgonites, these creatures, you have... I can't believe I forgot his name. Freight Langella. Skeletor from Master Universe. You got the guys from Spinal Tap, like Harry Shearer, Michael McKean, and so interesting choices here. Dennis Leary is part of the human cast. So there's some fun bits, especially with the Commandos. When the scenes are in the Commando toys and Tommy Lee Jones and how serious these characters are on this military operation, even though they're toys, to me that's the most fun part of the movie. And when you have Jay Moore and David Cross and Dennis Leary and the very few scenes they're talking with each other, which is mainly in the beginning, some of them a little bit at the end, there's some fun stuff to that. It's just, I do have issues with this movie. The first one being, it just comes off as a lesser version of Gremlins. A lesser polished version of Gremlins. Even more so that Joe Dante himself directed it. And some people say that's an unfair comparison, but to me it shows how Gremlins worked so well and this one just works For example, Gremlins, you got Zach Galligan. I liked Zach Galligan. I think he really pulled it off as a character of Billy, that certain innocence and perhaps naivete, but he's a generally nice guy, trying to do his best, working his job with this bitchy boss and doing the best that he can, and he loves this girl, and the girl's sweet to him, and the boy next door, like every man that we can relate to. The kid here, the younger kid, who's our lead, I thought he was flat out boring. Or sometimes fucking whiny. Whether it's the acting or the writing or both. To me, he's one of the biggest problems of the film because I could not give a shit about this kid, Gregory Smith. I did not give a fuck whether the kid lived or died or did whatever the fuck. I did. Maybe it's not the actor's fault. Maybe it's the way it was written. I don't recognize anything else that he's done. I'm sorry, he did nothing for me. I just did not care. I guess he was in Hobo with a Shotgun. He had a bit part in The Patriot with Mel Gibson. He was in Krippendorf's Tribe. Well, this is a lot better than that. I'll give it that. But just that kid didn't really do much for. He was just flat out boring. And again, when you compare the Gremlins, which has more interesting human characters, like Billy, played by Zach Galligan, even Phoebe Cates, she was more interesting than Kirsten Dunst, just for the crazy story Phoebe Cates tells about her dad being stuck in the fucking chimney as Santa Claus. And that goes with another problem, the tone of this film. Like the tone of Gremlins, and even it's batshit insane Gremlins too, the tone for those films worked for what those films were supposed to be. Gremlins 2 was not supposed to be like Gremlins 1, and that was good. Did not need a repeat. It became its own thing, and it's a fun sequel. Here, I think because the fight with the studios and the fast food joints, because people forget, this movie was hyped quite a bit. You had commercials to sell the action figures and the Burger King toys, and that stuff is online. You can find it on YouTube, like the Burger King.
Okay, boys, fan out. Move, move. Go, go, go.
Small soldiers are invading Burger King. One toy inside every delicious $1.99 kids hamburger meal. 2 new toys each week, 12 in all.
Men, find the Gorgonites! And you, where's my booster chair?
If you ask us, it just tastes better.
You get them before they're gone. I think because of the fights with the Burger King and the studios, for what I understand, the script was a lot more edgy. And a lot more for teens, maybe adults, but teens. So then Burger King and the studios want more of a kids film, so they had to tone down a lot of stuff. So then you get a movie that's a bit uneven, and it kind of, which way is it going to go? Is it a kids film with these two lead kids, but then you kind of want it to be more edgy? Because the first Gremlins is more heartfelt. The second Gremlins is more batshit insane as creativity. I do think there is a better movie in this. I do think there is a better movie to be found. If you did not have the two lead kids, especially the guy, Kirsten Dunst was there, but I'm not a big Kirsten Dunst fan. The lead kid didn't care about whether the writing or the acting or both. And people go, oh, well, it would be silly if there was adults dealing with these. No, it wouldn't. You had that in Gremlins, where adults or grown-ups, much taller people dealing with these little creatures. It's in that situation. Of course, maybe they'd go, that it'd be a lot more like a Gremlins ripoff. But when I saw David Cross and Jay Moore and Dennis Leary, I just thought, you know what? What if this movie had the feel of Tremors? One of my all-time favorites, Tremors. And what Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon played in those, you had David Cross, Jay Moore, and Dennis Leary as three guys. Or kind of like what David Duchovny and Orlando Jones would do in Evolution, which I think is an underrated comedy. And how they played off each other. And then dealing with these commando type team. I think that'd be a more fun, more interesting flick. Keep the edginess of it. I think you would have a lot more fun. Like, keep the Tommy Lee Jones, and if you get the Arnold, the Predator cast, cool. If not, keep the Tommy Lee Jones and most of the cast of the Dirty Dozen and Bruce Stern. I just think that would be a lot more interesting flick. Because again, the uneven tone, you have these two lead kids, and then try to be more like kids film, whether it's to sate the desires of Burger King or the studio, the wishy-washy tone, the lead kid sucks ass, and dick. It hurts the flick quite a bit for me. And then the Gorgonites, the peaceful creatures, I thought they were kind of boring. Some of them try to have a little bit of personality, like the hyper, pretty much being the Tasmanian devil in personality. But for the most part, and like, I find it funny, the most interesting one to me was the eyeball, which had no voice. But the lead Gorgonite, Archer, Frank Langella. The fuck am I saying Mangella? As in mangina. I'm sure people are like, it's not Mangella, what the fuck you doing? I know I caught myself. Way too late though. Yeah, it's Langella. Why am I saying Frank Mangella? They did the mangina? Yeah, Frank Langella. What? Fuck up on my part. I'll leave it in because it's a fuck up. It's my fuck up. I take responsibility. But they just... Maybe because of the way the characters are written, of course, they're peaceful creatures. They don't want to fight until the very, very end. And then a couple of them do a couple stuff. But even Archer doesn't do a lot. Frank Langella's character, he acts as a distraction at one point, then gets his ass kicked. But even him, there's a part of me that goes, I don't even want to see these fucking Gorgonites. Maybe there's a reason why all the advertising The posters, they only have the Commandos because they're the more interesting parts of the movie. The Gorgonites, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just have the Commando team being apeshit crazy, have like an evil version of Toy Story. But, these action figures go after David Cross. Maybe David Cross is like a collector, like you would see nowadays on YouTube. Jay Moore is his regular buddy. Dennis Leary is the ladies' man, or not even ladies. He's like the wise ass, and then Jay. I could really say like these three guys like a suburban Tremors, and like these three characters, they're blue collar characters. I just, those three actors would definitely have three distinct personalities. Battle this Commando Elite group, but they're this tall. I just think there'd be a lot more fun and entertainment out of that than what we have here. Now, I know I've been picking on the movie a lot. People go, well, what do you like? I like the premise. I like the beginning where you have David Cross and Jay Moore as these guys who worked with this toy company. Dennis Leary is the CEO of this defense contractors that bought the thing, and they want to make toys kick ass and fight. You have some in-jokes in there, like the password to get in the computer is Gizmo. Joe Dante, Gremlins, yeah. Dick Miller, nice to see him. He's a delivery guy who lets the lead kid get some toys because the kid's business, his father's business is going down the shitter. Hey, maybe if we get some of these toys early, thanks to you, we'll actually make a little bit of money here. Phil Hartman, I thought he was underused. It's cool to see Phil Hartman, may rest in peace, but he pretty much, in the beginning of the film, arguing with the dad, which is actually played by, I think it's Kevin Dunn. I remember him from the 1998 film Godzilla. I think he was like the general guy, which I liked him in that. They're arguing over a tree being cut down, and then you don't really see Phil Hartman until the end of the movie. Which even then, he doesn't get to do a whole lot. So again, I thought Phil Hartman was a bit underused. But yeah, Tommy Lee Jones, he's having fun with the role, getting the Commandos ready, and the voice cast they got. There's a little homage to Patton, where he's telling the team of what they're going to do and escape the store. Some of the effects for the time worked well. There's some nice practical effects of the toys and the animatronics, the way they move. And even the CG, for the time, I can forgive it. Some of them is not that bad. And honestly, it's not that bad. I guess some of the puppetry was done by Stan Winston. Joe Dante says it's 1/3 puppetry and the rest CGI and small soldiers. And the original idea was to do it mostly puppetry. But it was simpler and cheaper to let the CGI people do the work after we shot the scenes. But yeah, the CGI, for the time, 98, I've seen much worse. I've seen much worse. But the puppetry, the little bits of that, I did enjoy. I didn't know Stan Winston worked on it. Makes sense why they're good. And like I said, when the Commandos are on screen, it's fun. They're preparing for battle to the tune of Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. When the whole battle happens at the end, they're trying to use psychological warfare, and they use a song from the Spice Girls. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. This little scene was interesting where I was a bit confused because one of their commandos are dead. They get the microchip. But then somehow they're able to copy the microchip into about 15 dolls that they find. How are they able to copy the microchip to put in 15 when they only had one microchip? Like, again, they only had one microchip. How did they put that one into 15 or so Barbie doll types? I was a bit confused by that. But I mean, when they're attacking Kirsten Dunst and the lead boring kid, I think one's voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar and the other's voiced by Christina Ricci, and these are like crazy ass Barbie bitches. That was an interesting scene. That was a bit of a fun scene. The ending, this seemed a bit messy. It's like, okay, we got all these characters now. We got David Cross there. We got Jay Moore there. We got Phil Hartman there. They don't really have a lot to do. They're messing around a little bit. Mainly it's one of the moms hitting with a tennis racket, some artillery back at the commandos. Kevin Dunn, the lead kid's dad, does a little bit of stuff. They have to get to this power to shoot this EMP type of thing to fuck up the chips. The Gorgonites finally fight back. I mean, even the fucking last line that the kid has in the battle, "You stupid toy." Good one! Okay, USA! That's a good line. So maybe that's not the kid's fault. That's the script. They just go, "You stupid toy." Like, ooh, you burned him! You burned him with that one. Holy shit! You burned him! You burned the motherfucker with that line! You stupid toy! You might as well say, "You butthead! You dummy! You jerk!" And throughout there'd be stuff that just remind me of Gremlins. Even at the end of the film, there's a little thing, like the kid says he's sorry to Dick Miller, who gave him the thing. It's kind of like Zach Galligan saying sorry to the old man who, without knowing, they got the Mogwai from. That's what I mean, like this, it just comes off as a lesser version of Gremlins, that its tone is uneven. Some of the cast is wasted, like David Cross, Jay Moore, Dennis Leary. He's at the very beginning, he's at the very, very end. I like Dennis Leary as a personality. You could have used him a lot more. Phil Hartman is underused. I get the commandos are fun. Some of the action scenes are entertaining. Some of the effects are fun to watch. Some of the little bits of humor. The Gorgonites watching WWF, old school WWF. I think like The Rock was on there. Yeah, because this was 1998 when it came out. The whole thing with the female Barbie doll bitches being alive. And they're playing like the Bride of Frankenstein music when they're being made. Of course. Really enough, the same year you have Bride of Chucky, which also had Bride of Frankenstein music. I mean, it's harmless. It's a time waster. It's a fun idea. You do have a lot of good actors in the movie. Capable people, like I mentioned before. And the Commando team is fun. It's nothing that really got me mad or angry. I mean, this isn't a rant. I know I've been downplaying the movie a lot. But yeah, there are some fun stuff with the Commando team. It just, like I said, it's uneven tone, probably because of Burger King, the studio, dwindling the script down, watering it down. So the tone is wishy-washy. The Gorgonites came off fairly boring. Maybe because the way it's written, that they're not supposed to do anything till the end because they're peaceful. The lead kids, I didn't give a flying fuck about. And like I said, I could see a better movie in this. I really can. I think they should have played off more of Tremors than Gremlins, and I think it should have been Dennis Leary, David Cross, and Jay Moore. You'd even throw in Phil Hartman if you need 4 guys. You'd throw in Phil Hartman. And their groups, and they can have kids too. Some of them can have kids dealing with this as well. And the kids get the action figures or whatever. And maybe they're all trapped in this big store and they gotta escape from it, from all these toys, or I don't know. Yeah, I think a better idea, it's a good idea, an alright execution, that I think there's potential for a much better execution. But I know I'm alone in that. A lot of people really, really love the movie. It's a cult status, cult film. There's some fun to be had, but I think there's a lot of potential that was missed with the movie. That's just my opinion. And of the Joe Dante filmography, it's definitely lower on the totem pole. Although I still watch this over The Howling. I still watch this over the stuff he's done recently. But I would easily put The Burbs, Gremlins, Gremlins 2, Inner Space, even Explorers was his third act. Matinee, I liked with John Goodman. Yeah, I will put Piranha. I don't mind the first Piranha. I will put that above this. But that's just me. Thanks for watching. Take care. Don't get too mad. Don't get too angry with me. Or you can. It's a free country. Teach their own. I don't love the film. It's alright. But I could see a better movie there. That's kind of what's infuriating for me. I could see a better movie there. And this film did not do that great when it came out. Didn't do that great. And I'm not surprised, to be perfectly honest. But thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.